What's going on, guys? Chuck here. Today I want to talk about a film I picked up from a Vinegar Syndrome set. It was a blind buy. And one thing I've said before is Vinegar Syndrome is really good at selling, their product. And put it out there, they hype it up, and they make you want to get it. And I have probably uh, blind bought from Vinegar Syndrome more than anybody else. They do such a great job of just again really making things enticing. Plus, they are tend to have a lot of obscure, you know, 80s slasher films, which is something I really like picking up and collecting, just because I like that genre. And there's so many on there that I find that Vinegar Syndrome puts out that it's, hey, this sounds interesting. I'm gonna grab it. Um, and that was kind of the case. At least that's what I was thinking when I saw this. But I was slightly surprised, not disappointed, but slightly surprised, and that is Blood Games. Now, this is actually from 1990, so it's like the tail end. Um, and for me, my intention or thought was this is kind of like a slasher film. However, it's not. It's more like um, it's not even really a revenge flick. More or less, it's almost like, hmm, I Spit on Your Grave meets The Most Dangerous Game with a little bit of Southern Comfort thrown in, maybe. That's probably not even doing it justice. That may be twisting it worse than it is. Um, but this film, even though it's 1990, this is full on exploitation. Now, this could have been made like late 70s, somewhere in the 80s. This is exactly how this feels. I mean, every bit about this film is sleaze and exploitation. Uh, but it's entertaining, and that's what counts, right? So, what is Blood Games? Well, let me read the back of the synopsis here. Let me give you this because I don't want you to, watch me look old and try to read this. Okay, maybe you'll have to. It all started as a simple game of softball. They were actually playing baseball in the movie, not softball, but whatever. We'll get to that in a minute. When a women's softball team, they're actually a baseball team, wins a game against a group of rough talking and dirty playing men, they find themselves unwittingly involved in a new competition with much higher stakes, life and death. After being horribly attacked and assaulted by their male competitors, the women are forced to use both their wits and strength to escape their tormentors and avenge their teammates. However, they quickly find themselves trapped in a deadly cat and mouse chase through a nearby forest where violence lurks behind every tree. So yeah, that's Blood Games. Essentially, the premise is so weird. It's unique. It starts right off. You're at, it's out in the bumpkin woods, and you're watching a baseball game. Like I said, they're playing softball. They were not playing softball. They were playing baseball. And it's like one of these guys, his birthday party, and all these like kind of redneck, country. I mean, they're just. This part of the movie, you can't tell if it's being serious or it's being played for laughs because they're just kind of making a joke of the people who are sitting around watching the game and then even the competitors. And they're just, again, they're country redneck cliches. Their opponents are a girls' baseball team. The most unathletic girls' baseball team. um, and this is the part because I'm a big baseball fan, and as watching this was just like, the girls are wearing these very skimpy shorts that creep up way high up to their revealing their thigh, almost showing their butt cheeks, and they're playing baseball. It's like a Hooters girls playing baseball, but with skimpier shorts. And I'm watching that, and I'm thinking that is not safe. So watching these girls, run the and again, this isn't even a real baseball field they're on. It looks like it's like when I was a kid, we used to play baseball behind what we call the water towers, big water tower areas, like nothing but a field of weeds and whatever. And we kind of have a clearing. Of course, you just throw stuff down its bases and run around and through all this grass and stuff. There's no dirt anywhere. That's basically what this field is they're playing on. Which is weird because this, like I said, these are obviously just country bumpkin guys, and these are a traveling professional women's baseball team. with these skimpy little short, like a strip club or a strip. Maybe they were a strip club baseball team club. I don't know, but they were. Like I said, they wearing these shorts. I'm watching them run a base like you cannot slide in those. You cannot slide in those. You will just tear your hip and thigh up to no end. And believe me, I know because I made that mistake playing softball in junior high with shorts at practice, and I slid into second base. That's a mistake I only had to make one time. So I'm watching it, and it's like I'm going ballistic with watching this. I'm watching the girl pitcher. It's supposed to be really awesome. I think her name's Babe, because this is like Babe and the Ball Girls or something like, was it, because they have a big team bus and it's on the side, and she's pitching and it looks horrible. Everyone looks horrible. Not even trying. Anyways, the girls basically, they're beating the guys. They're upset, and because how dare these women be better than us? And they're just, except like the description said, they're throwing elbows, they're tripping the girls up, and they're not going to take it. Their manager is played by Ross Hagen. Probably one of the only two actors I knew in this movie is Ross Hagen and Buck Flower, who was credited under a different name. I think it was because of this wasn't a Screen Actors Guild film, so he had to change his name to do it. Buck Flower was a very prolific character actor, especially for John Carpenter. He pops up in almost all his movies. Funny enough, he actually was in a couple of like porn loops in the 70s too. I happened to find like Succula, I think was one I found on his Vinegar Syndrome little rule loops, and Buck Flower was in there, and a non-sex part, but it was just like weird to see him in there. So the guy got around. Anyway, so Ross Hagen is telling his girls, because also the pitcher Babe is his daughter, and I think there was another girl who was a daughter too, but I didn't really catch that part. Anyways, he's like trying to get his girls, what are we gonna do? Fight back, and they're like, we're gonna kick their ass, and they basically beat them, and they just humiliate the guys, and the whole neighborhood, the town folk, whatever the hell they are, they're all upset, and the guys are embarrassed, and the girls run off, and we won. And apparently the birthday boy, whose name I cannot remember, I want to say it was maybe Roy or something, his dad is watching this, and he's not happy at all. His dad's like ex-military, and you play a game, you win, blah, blah, blah. I put $1,000, or it was like $1,000 on this game, and you cost me all this money. I'm like, why the hell are you betting $1,000 on this pickup game? $50, okay. $1,000, who's the idiot here? I think it's you, sir. Apparently, he made the bet with Ross Hagen, and there you have it. He's upset with his son, and but everybody goes separate ways, and then you cut to gratuitous nudity in the showers. The girls are all happy and they're naked, and I mean, it's funny. This also mentioned this is directed by a woman, an Israeli woman actually. What was her name? Tanya Rosenberg. This is like the only film she ever did, from what I understand. And this is like pretty much an Israeli production. It's like a lot of the names on here were Israeli names, which is interesting. But yeah, there's a lot of gratuitous. I mean, a lot of gratuitous nudity. So basically, the Ross Hagen is getting gypped by the guy who owes him money. He goes to collect. Bad things ensue. The son of the guy is upset because he got humiliated. He wants to take down the girls. Finds the girls. Tries to take him down. This is where you get into the whole assault. Thing where they assault the girls. The other girls come to the rescue. There's a fight. Ross Hagen, is eventually stabbed, and he, is gonna. Spoiler: he's gonna get killed and die. But also the guy who the birthday boy, I think Roy again, I think his name was. He ends up getting killed in me, like because they're chasing the girls. And the girls driving a big charter bus. There's an accident. He gets killed, and it's just all kinds of. The whole thing is a big fallout from all this. So now the father finds out his son's been killed, and he vows revenge on these baseball bitches. He gets who's with me because apparently he runs his town or something. It's never really explained. But everybody gets behind him, including his son's best friend, who's kind of an idiot, who teams up with Buck Flower to be kind of weird comic relief. And they all decide to basically hunt down and chase these girls. And that's really what this it comes down to. Chase them in the woods. They get stuck in a dead end, and they all leave the bus where they were kind of safe. And they're being hunted down kind of one by one, but they're also kind of trying to survive against the Marine dad who's just crazed, and the other crazy town folk. So yeah, that's really the gist of Blood Games. So like I said, it's not quite a slasher like I thought it was initially when I saw it. Like I said, it's really just it has that. Like I said, it's a cross between I Spit in Your Grave meets Southern Comfort meets Most Dangerous Game. Now the question being, like, is it good? Good is a perspective. Is it entertaining? Yeah, it is very entertaining. Actually, I really enjoyed it. It doesn't stall. It gets going, and right away it kicks on like 90 minutes, and it moves at a good pace. You kind of enjoy the characters, not just because most of them, the girls are all good looking, and in various states of undress, but you just kind of like them as characters. You hate the was it military dad who's got these girls and all his minions, if you will, just because they're sleazy guys. But again, the action it's got good pacing, and the action's it's fun. There's some good kills. I don't say really high suspense, but again, you're into it. You're kind of rooting for these girls to get away or to get their revenge or whatever. So it's fun. I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, it's one of these things. It's a blind buy from Vinegar Syndrome. I mean, if anyone's got a blind buy from Vinegar Syndrome, you never know what you're going to get. So you're taking a chance there, and I usually feel pretty comfortable doing so. And so far, it's so good. I haven't had any complaints. And Blood Games was definitely a lot of fun. As far as this Blu-ray goes, I'm thinking it's still available. There's not much on here as far as special features go. You really just have playing a tough Babe interview with actress Laura Albert, who was plays Babe in there. Eventually, she went on to become a major stunt woman, which is an interesting story. And then you have playing hardball interview with actor Ken Carpenter, who plays the bad guy, the military dad, the villain who's chasing him down. And then you have trailers and promotional still gallery. And this is a newly scanned and restored in 2K from its 35mm interpositive. It looks good. It's a really good looking movie. Sound is like a simple mono track. There's nothing too crazy, but it looks and sounds really good. And it's just, again, it was a lot of fun. A pleasant surprise. I just happened to, I guess I got it some time back. I never had a chance to watch it. It's one of these things I was going through the sales and like, oh, that looks pretty cool. I'll pick that up. It's for a decent price. And yeah, I gotta admit, I was pleasantly surprised. So take a look. There's Blood Games. I did have reverse artwork. I think it probably had a slipcover, but obviously I got to wait to wait. But there's that, which is really nice, actually. But I don't really have too much else to say about Blood Games, other than if you're looking for something exploitive. With a modern touch, because like I said, this is like 1990, but it does have that late 70s, early 80s exploitation grindhouse kind of feel to it. It feels kind of scummy, which can be a good thing when it comes to these kind of movies. I like some scum and filth in my films, especially when it comes to stuff like this. Luckily, as far as like the assault we talked about, it's not played up like an exploitation film in the 70s, 80s. It's kind of, it's more implied. You just there is like full on punching of women, and a big vicious elbow like during the baseball game, which is kind of like, ooh, wow, that's a little rough. But at the same time, you get a baseball right to the crotch of the guy who threw the elbow, so it equals out. There's a lot of good blood gore. There's pretty cool kills. Maybe a little too much slow mo. There's a lot of scenes that are done in slow mo. I think for effect, I don't think it really works, or it just kind of like, huh? When you watch it, is it necessary? I don't know. Maybe once, twice, but I think they overplay it. But nonetheless, it's not a boring watch. It's entertaining. It's it's something you would watch all the time, but it's worth if you want looking for something a little different. Check out Blood Games, and at the same time, try not to think of 400's Head Games when you say it. You just want to say Blood Games. Or maybe it's just me. So that is it for this one. If you enjoyed, just click thumbs up, share, subscribe, leave me a comment below. Let me know if you've checked out Blood Games, what your thoughts on it are. Or just say hi. I'll always take hi. So until next time, this is Chuck saying I will see you on the other side.